Alyssa. You guys want to introduce yourselves and tell us what you do in the band, please?
Also, I'm Alyssa, and I'm the singer of the band.
And I'm Randy, and I play guitar and I guess bass in the band until my parents decide to have another kid. But right now, I'm doing both.
All right, yeah, that's interesting that you play like you do both. So it's like so when you guys play live, you're just gonna have like a fill-in for one or the other, or do you prefer to play one?
I mean, I've played guitar like my whole life, and just kind of bass is like something you pick up as you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a slew of shredder bass players who are way better than me. So
Our number one person is Kayla. She plays bass in Get Married too. She's like our number one bass player right now.
Oh yeah, from Pity Party too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes I forget that Kayla's in that Pity Party.
Like, no, just Get Married.
Yeah. Well, like I've known Kayla since we were 15 or something like that. Like she transferred schools and was wearing like a Misfits shirt, and I was wearing a Megadeth shirt, and I was like, I like your shirt, and then we just became friends that way. So.
I miss those days.
Yeah, I miss just like, yeah.
That's cute. I like that. Yeah, I think like in school when you see someone that has like common interests, especially in like punk rock, because it's so like niche in a way, and you see someone, you're like, hey, we share the same, like, let's be friends.
Yeah, totally.
Kind of thing. So, like, tell us about growing up, like, together. Were you all, like, close growing up, or was it more like, did your own separate things, and now as adults, you're closer?
We were definitely really, really close growing up, being such a tight-knit family that we are, and Dylan and I were definitely closer when we were younger because we're closer in age. But as we've grown up, the three of us have all gotten super close, and it's what made us write music together. It's just this closeness that we experienced in the past like 2 or 3 years. We all just came together and started talking more about our life experiences, and that's how we got super close. But we've definitely been close since we were little, and we've always been best friends and done everything together. And you do all this sibling shit where you like make videos in the hallway and you chase each other around the house, all that stuff.
Yeah, like I started playing guitar around like 10 years old, and there's like a 5-year age gap between me and Dylan. I'm the oldest, so it goes like me, Dylan, then Alyssa. And we've always had a really like musical household. Like our dad plays music and my mom loves music, so it was just always been around. But I started taking it pretty seriously around like 10, and then I don't know if Dylan decided to play drums or I assigned him to play drums. It just kind of like happened that way. So he and I like grew up playing music together, and we like try to play Van Halen songs and like stuff we thought was like cool,
10 years old.
Yeah, 10 years old, I'm like trying to like do the finger tap thing, and eventually I got it, but not at 10. It sounded awful. And Liz has always been a singer, but she never really like was like, hey, I'm gonna start a band or any of that stuff. So it took like the quarantine and all of us to like be together for Alyssa to be like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah. And
she sat in a couple times.
Randy definitely like encouraged me a lot with like singing. I wasn't comfortable performing in front of people very much until I was probably like 17, so about 2 years ago, and Randy really helped me come out of my shell with my singing voice and really made me feel comfortable to be starting a band and everything.
And you said your parents like played a big role in that too, like you said, like a musical household type thing.
Yeah, our dad especially. I've always done music with him. I've performed covers with him when we go camping. We do like this big camping group before the pandemic with like all of our friends and like from when we were younger. And then my dad and I would perform music together on like a makeshift stage that we had and everything. So
wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think definitely like love that as a kid, like, oh, okay, like encourage them to like follow their dreams and be creative and not just like, this is the plan, you're gonna like go to med school and
Right.
Yeah.
be a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think pretty early on, my parents were like, "This kid's not going to be a doctor," which is fine. Yeah, I played sports growing up, and then and I was like, all these other kids are like becoming 6 foot at like age 10, and I was still like 5'10", like 4'10", and I was like, "This sucks." And then like my dad was like an athlete in school too, so he was like, "Yeah, like you could do that thing." And then I got hit by a pitch in baseball, and I was like, "I'm over this." And he was like, "That's cool, we'll do music." Like he was always really supportive no matter what I chose, so it was cool. Yeah, we've always had a really supportive household no matter what it was. They're like, pretty much the mantra at the house is like, if you're gonna do something, do it with like 100% of your being.
Besides music, what have you all been like doing during this whole pandemic time?
I've been working a lot. I actually won't have a job next week, but I've been a nanny for pretty much all of quarantine, and been working with this one family. That was like my main focus, but besides music, I've been doing a lot of art. I'm a painter, so I've been doing a lot of that, and dyeing my hair a bunch of different colors, but that's pretty much it.
Pretty
And
cool.
I've just been doubling down on music pretty much. I just like when the lockdown hit, I was just like, I'm gonna learn how to record myself and like get pretty good at it and start get the ideas out of my head and onto something to like reflect on, you know. So usually beforehand it was like, I have this song, and you have to wait for like 5 other people to get in the same room with you to jam it out or whatever. But now I'm like, I can do this all myself. So there's pros and cons to that, but yeah, just been doing music stuff.
Yeah, I feel like you could just sit there and just do that for like hours, and then you're like, did I eat? Is this
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, Randy is hardcore when it comes to that. We were working on music last night, and I was like, I'm so tired, and he's like, you just got to do this last thing, and like we're pushing all the time.
You're like, it's 5 a.m. Like, I really, it's time
Yeah,
for bed.
Definitely did not go to bed until like 3 a.m. last night until I was done working on that demo.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I heard it when I woke up in like the middle of the night. It's like, oh, there he is.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you know, do what you got to do, you know, to keep it going, and you know, hustling out there, all the music going on. Because I mean, yeah, I feel like people are kind of like musicians and other creatives are kind of going towards other creative outlets to fill, you know, parts of their life. Like, oh, I used to tour, so now I'm gonna like, you know, crochet now or something like that. Instead of like,
Right, yeah.
I'm like, it's always interesting, like hearing like somebody was like, I started pickling vegetables in my spare time, or you know, something really random.
I feel like baking bread is a big one.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of musician friends that we had that were like, I'm baking bread, and I was like, okay.
Exactly. I was gonna say, since I work in grocery too, just like Dylan there. Yeah, we were sold out of like all the bread stuff for
the ingredients
so long, and then like s'mores were a big thing. Like everyone wanted to make s'mores, so that was like gone for a while. Like, okay, we're in that part of the pandemic. That's cool.
It was like
It's
the
weird,
bread
like
and the whipped coffee were like the two that like everyone was making.
Oh yeah,
Now
whipped
that,
coffee was
in
like
the
a
1
huge
year,
thing.
someone just started like a new like whipped coffee flavor trend. It's like banana now, and people are like, no, we're not going back to that. No,
Ooh, that sounds good.
we're not gonna do that again.
like
Banana coffee.
yeah, like thinking
Banana
about
whipped coffee sounds kind of good.
like thinking about it, like there's different like eras of like quarantine. And like the beginning was like Tiger King, and everyone's like, "Oh, this will be over pretty soon." And then 6 months, you're like, I miss the smell of the bathroom at my favorite menu." And you're like, "What is going on?" Like, yeah, like I was on this tour that we drove all the way out to. We played Nashville, and we're like, "Oh, people are freaking out over the coronavirus. It's crazy. And then by the time we got off, it was like the NBA had shut down, Disneyland is closed, Tom Hanks has coronavirus. We're like, oh shit, this is
Oh, I
real.
forgot about that.
Yeah, I was like, this is real. And then the next day, we're like, I hope everyone's having a good time. And then there's like 3 people in the crowd, and they don't know if they should be like standing near each other. And then we're like, all right, let's just cancel this thing.
Yeah, I remember driving to pick you up. Like,
I was bummed. I was after 36 hours in the van. Like, I had played a show with this band called Melted in Orange County. And as soon as we were done, I drove up to Oakland. Then I met up with the band, and then we drove to Nashville, and then we're like, never mind, and then drove back. So it was like 30. I mean, we drove straight. We took us 2 days to get out there, and then we drove straight back. So it was like 36 hours straight. And I never want to relive that ever again.
Jeez.
But I will happily do so if it means I get to play a show again. So
I'll never do it again, but
yeah, but I don't want to do it again, but I'll totally do it again.
I was gonna say we're in Southern California too, so we talk about like, well, Raven's in Orange County, I'm in Ventura, so
Yeah.
Right. We're
geographically we know about
Yeah.
most of the state, I feel.
Yeah, like I was living in Orange before COVID hit, and Dylan was living in Anaheim, and then we're like, how are we gonna afford to do this? we just ended up moving. Like, we moved back home.
Yeah.
Did you like call your parents and you're like, surprise? Like,
It was kind of like a gradual thing,
okay.
because like the Bay Area is like home base pretty much, you know. So after that tour, I just like was at my parents' house, and I was like, well, what the hell am I gonna do? Like, touring's done. And then my dad's like, give it a month, it'll be fine. And I was like, very optimistic of you, but okay. And then like it just kept going on and on and on. And then eventually I decided to like have that talk with my roommates and my parents, and be like, all right, I think this is the move. And as much as it sucked, I think it's like I've been able to make an album with my siblings, and for not playing a show, I think it's doing pretty well. And
yeah.
Yeah.
It started off as, oh, Randy's going to be home for 2 weeks. And then it was, oh, Randy's coming home forever.
Don't sound so stoked, Alyssa. Yeah.
No, I was really excited. I missed my brother. Both of them.
Oh.
Yeah. I think a lot of people went through that though, because we all expected it to just be this short-term thing, and then it kept going like month by month, and everyone's still kind of like, what are we doing? You know, because I work in live events too, and like this was the week last year, you know, that everything shut down, and like we shut down, like we were all laid off and stuff too, and we're like, okay, it's just going to be a short break, and here we are a year later, still not doing anything, you know. It's crazy.
Yeah. And like some people are like, next month we're getting there, and I was like, just wait. Just I mean like I want to play a show as much as everybody else, but it's like, if you're going to put a bunch of people at risk and like cause a whole like if like, I don't know, if you're doing anything that's controversial, like maybe really like think about like what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
And like playing a show to like 50 people right now isn't really like the move.
Yeah.
But I know like New York is like allowing 25% capacity or something like that, and the people are trying to take the steps to like be as careful as possible, and that's great.
Not Texas.
Oh, Texas.
Not Texas. Texas is out of its mind right now.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing right there.
Yeah, like Dylan and I just worked on this record with Dan Andriano, and he's from Florida, and he was like, you guys are the only state that are like having this crazy like lockdown thing. In Florida, it's party time. And I was like, that's insane to me. That's what he said. And I was like, it's insane. Like,
that's wow. So if you both had to pick one record that you think is perfect from front to back, what record would you pick?
Ooh, I know mine.
I know mine. You first. Mine's
you go.
No, mine's, they're gonna be like, huh?
Can I guess yours?
Yeah.
Is yours Fine Line by Harry Styles?
No,
Oh.
that's what, okay. I love Harry Styles, but Treat People with Kindness is such a stupid song. That's like the one skip on that album that I just can't stand. I agree with the message. Yeah, I need to be nice to people, but oh my god, that song is so dumb. I'm so sorry, Harry Styles, if you're listening. If you're listening, baby, I love you, but that song's so dumb. Cut it. My perfect album front to back is Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar.
Mine is Alkaline Trios, goddamn it. That's my favorite record of all time.
I could have guessed that.
Yeah.
There's some right behind me in this.
Yeah, it's over this section over here. Yeah.
I've packed that record before.
That's great. All right. Very, very different picks. I like that.
Oh yeah. When people start asking about music we listen to, that's when you just see the difference between Randy and I's music taste.
I love it though. I love when people like get inspiration from different like genres or just, you know, things that are unexpected. They're like, oh, you play in like an alternative or like a punk band. They're like, oh, you must just listen to like punk, and like, no, that's not the case. You know, everyone listens.
I feel like a lot of like pop punk bands don't listen to pop punk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like we're friends with this band called Stick Up Kid, and their drummer's a really good friend of mine. And I don't think we've ever talked about a pop punk band. Like, I don't know, it's just crazy that like, I would also feel like there's like this thing where it's like you want to show your diversity, so you don't want to admit that you actually love the genre you're playing. Because like, I mean, I love pop punk. Like, obviously there's like a fine line between like good and bad pop punk. I think that's with like any genre.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, if you got hooks, I'm in.
I was gonna say, what pop punk bands do you like?
And then it starts this whole debate on what is pop punk, and I'm just like, oh, like
what you define as pop punk? Like, what bands do you think?
Okay, I think because of when I've been growing up, I think a lot of pop punk bands are like Story So Far, Wonder Years, like that kind of thing. But I think the basis of pop punk is like the Ramones and like that, like legitimate pop punk, because there's also like hardcore punk going on with like Sex Pistols and stuff like that. But we don't have to get a punk history moment here right now, but it's like
there's enough of that on like Facebook groups of like everyone arguing over what's a punk.
Well, actually, this record, like I got into an argument with a friend of mine about like which Alkaline Trios were pop punk and which were like alternative rock, and I was like, this is stupid. Like I was like typing out this giant paragraph, and then I was like, this is dumb. Like, what am I doing?
We love all Alkaline Trio records here. Just
I do. I love every Alkaline Trio record.
You guys are listening.
Yeah. But yeah, I think what it just comes down to is like I just like pop melody, and like I think it's weird growing up I was like a metalhead and everything like that, but then eventually one day I was like, you know what? Give me a good hook. Like Slayer's cool, but like where's the melody? Where's like the where is it? You know?
Yeah. That thing you're missing.
Yeah. And I think it like all goes back to like us growing up, because like our dad was like huge into like doo-wop and like a bunch of like old 50s stuff, but also at the same time like a lot of like classic rock 70s stuff. And he's in like a corporate cover band, so he plays a lot of like the pop hits, you know.
Ooh.
So
the worst was when he covered Happy by Pharrell Williams. I was like, that song's
dude,
gotta go.
Dude, don't tell him that, dude.
I know. I was like, Dad, that song's gotta go. He's like, I love that song. And I was like,
that song should be played by one man, and his name is Pharrell Williams.
Oh, Williams.
Oh man, that's corporate.
Hey, he loves it, so I'm not gonna knock him. I'm not gonna not support him like he didn't, like you support him, you know, like
Yeah, of course, gotta support the family always.
Exactly.
Are you gonna feature him on your next record?
Dude, he's trying to finagle his way into the situation so bad. He's like, if you need anybody to sing, I'm just chilling at home. And I'm like, okay.
I'm in the other room. That's what he does all the time.
Yeah, we'd be like making demos in the back, and he comes in and he's like, you tried doing this harmony? And then like tried to sing it, and I'm like,
he goes, you know what would sound good here? And then he'll
Yeah.
like sing it.
I'm not saying this just because you're at Mike Park's, but on Degrassi, when Joey Jeremiah was like trying to peep in on Craig's band, when they were like playing, he was trying to give his 2 cents about that. That's what it reminds me of. Like, oh, I was in the band back in the day, so like, here's my take.
He's tried so hard to get me to A, watch that show, and 2, listen to his podcast. And I'm like, nah. Like, I feel like I have to watch the show before I listen to your podcast because I have no idea what you're talking about.
You can't. Yeah, we're gonna understand what's going on. Unless you watch the show.
I'm completely clueless when it comes to that.
That's funny. I was gonna say, Randy, how old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay, so it's like yeah, because the Next Generation premiered in 2001, so that's like 20 years ago. Oh my god!
I was watching Pokemon.
I
Like,
was
sorry. It's a lot to get through, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like you grew up with it, and it's like, get it? Because yeah, I'm 31, so it's like right at that like sweet spot of like me being in like middle school and high school to like watch Degrassi and then kind of like grow up with it.
These are my stories too. Like you're like
I mean, not everything. Some of it was pretty intense. I was like, where are these kids, like these Canadians, you know? They're dealing with a lot up there. I don't know what's going on. but yeah. Oh, you should just give it a chance. Just listen to the podcast and be like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but I listened.
Yeah. I did that with like our friend Fallon from Grumpster was on that, and I just listened to that to support them. And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Like, but I listened to one, so there you go. Now you can be happy.
Like, I thought Fallon was funny. Yeah.
Exactly. So you guys move back home. You're all doing your own separate things, and you move back home. So how long after moving back did you start writing?
It was probably like a month.
It was honestly like a month, yeah.
It was, I think, the beginning of April hit, and we were like, okay, this is gonna be more than 2-4 weeks or however long they said we would be inside for. So we were like, I guess now's the time to just write music and start getting something to do, so we're not bored inside doing the same thing over and over again every day.
I was like doing a lot of like experimenting with recording and stuff and trying to see like what works and what didn't work. And what came out of that whole thing was a reggae version of Lizzo's Truth Hurts, and Alyssa sang that, and I was like, we think we have something here. So like I just started doubling down and start writing more in like my bread and butter area of like the pop punk rock area. So that's kind of like what spawned it.
You're just like, did it just happen organically? You were just like, I don't know, just sitting there and like, let's do this, or what?
Well, it was mostly like, as a musician, like, no offense to Alyssa or Dylan, but I think I take music the most seriously. So like, I'm like learning about how like the Beatles recorded like whatever album and like how they get the certain guitar tone and like stuff like that all the time. And like I'm trying to explain to Dylan like the drum tone is from this mic from the room, and he's like, I don't care. Like, but I just like doubled down with that kind of stuff. So being a serious musician, I was like, I'm always trying to like improve on being a better musician. But like one of the things that like I've kind of like not spent much time with was like singing, and like I've taken singing more seriously in quarantine, and like started taking like Zoom singing lessons or whatever. But Alyssa has always had like the best voice in the house, so I was like, why waste my time trying to sing something when I can just have Alyssa sing it, and she's sing it a million times better. So I was just like, hey, okay, like
like, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but it was more so like everyone has something to bring to the table, so why don't we do something with it?
Interesting. Yeah, because I'm like, I don't know what I was picturing. Like, yeah, just sitting at home, like, hey, let's start a band.
Yeah, it started with that cover, and we were like, hey, like, let's just cover this song, see how we do. Like, Lizzo's one of my favorite artists also, so I was like, yeah, let's cover this song, fuck man type beat. I was like, let's do this. And that's where we started. And then from there, we were like, it'd be cool if we just started writing music together and made some of our own stuff that we can put out. And that's like how it started.
Did you have like a lot of like ideas like pent up inside you, like dealing with the pandemic and like various other things, like in order to start like writing for the record?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it was more so
Yeah.
just like a way to keep you like occupied, you know, and not let like yourself slip into insanity about this new world that we're living in. So we tried not to like overthink it going into it. We're just like, my whole mantra with this whole band, and like it's just like we're having fun, and I'd rather just have fun. And like I know bands can get like pretty serious and intense, so to take the opposite approach of that, I was like, let's take the most intense relationship possible, your family, and make it a band. So but yeah, it's more so just to like be preoccupied and focused on something that can be this piece of art that we made together. So
yeah, it's good distraction from reality.
Yeah.
So like deal. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to deal with whatever is going on out there. I'll just like sit in my in my home, like with my bubble, kind of doing my own thing, and you know, I get that. Definitely. So are you guys sick of each other yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think
I
so.
hope
Yeah,
Randy's not sick of me.
No, like we were writing like I was, like I said, I was like working on this record with Dan Andriano, so that was taking up a lot of my time. But during that time, I was like, all right, as soon as this is done, like I'm gonna get back and like start working on more family band songs, because I feel like there's this whole like stigma, like I don't know, it's like there's like this thing where it's like, oh, if you lose momentum with your band, then like your band's over and stuff like that. And like I feel like that's kind of like the grind aspect of being in a band. And like, yeah, obviously you do have to like grind to like, you know, be a successful band or whatever you define success. But I was just like, we're just gonna do this as much as we can. As if it's fun, we're gonna keep doing it. So I had this like all these ideas, and without being able to play a show to like get that momentum back up, you got to release music. So I was like, why don't we just like have fun and just release music and see if it bites, you know? And I honestly thought no one would listen to the music that we put out, so it's pretty cool that like we're here talking about it right now. So
anyway, so how did you like approach? Because I mean, I know you already like know Mike from Get Married and everything. So how did you approach him about like the More Family Band record?
I had sent him a song we kind of worked out, and he's wanted me singing. So when I sent it to him, he was like, "This is sick, keep going." And then he just like kept going and kept going, and then he was like, "Let's put out a record." I was like, "All right." It was just like, okay. And again, like if it bombs, it bombs. It's great. It's great. Like, you know,
like we tried.
Yeah, Mike's been the most like, I don't know, like almost like a mentor, you know, because he's been around for so long doing. I think this is like the biggest small label in music, you know. He's been doing it for so long, and it's like he's had this, you know, for lack of a better word, legendary catalog of records he's put out and created this like longevity thing. So obviously he knows what he's doing, and to have somebody of his, I'm not looking at him. I don't know why I keep looking over. But,
he's staring at you.
He's standing there like this.
Yeah, with a gun.
It's like, tell him something good about me, Randy.
Yeah. But it's more so like cool to like someone who knows what they're doing and is taking note of like what you're doing. Is like, this is cool. So
yep,
it feels good.
Standing over in the corner.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I definitely agree though. Mike was a big help throughout the whole album process and everything. Being able to talk to him and get his input was really helpful.
Right on. Love that. The mentor aspect. Which I'm sure that was like very helpful, trying to figure out what you're doing and have someone there just to kind of like check in with, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is kind of like a weird. This is like a funny Mike Park story I just remembered. Do you know the band Diners at all?
I don't think so.
Have you heard of them? They're an Asian band, and it's kind of like bedroom pop kind of stuff. And they're recording with Ryan right now, and Mike has a show called Music is Powerful Stuff, where like it's like an interview and then they like, play a song. And while I was watching Mike interview Diners, I remember the first time, like one of the first times I talked to Mike, and it was Diners, Get Married, Dan Podhass, and like Kitty Cat Fan Club were playing this like basement show in San Jose. And I finally had this moment to like talk to Mike about like what's the big step for Getting Married to do, and like what are we gonna do next? And I asked him, and I was like what's the big next step? And he's like, well, you got to have star power. And I was like, okay, like what? Like what do you mean? You know who's got star power? Diners. And then walks away. And I was like, okay. And he was totally right. Like Diners is like a genius when it comes to making music and like marketing and everything like that. But it's just so funny. Like that was his advice. It was...
So your album Missy, in one of your songs you mentioned the band Pup. So like has that garnered any attention from them?
Sadly, no.
No.
I wish.
I don't think we've tried. I think you're the first person to ever bring it up. Like,
yeah. I've definitely like painted stuff. Like I've painted their album art one time and tried to get their attention that way, but it didn't work. But if they ever do notice us, it will be the day I can die happy.
That'd be sick. More family band pop tour.
Oh yeah, I love Pup. They're one of my faves.
Yeah, they're pretty rad. That would be a fun tour. Damn.
Yeah.
So more family band Pup. Who else would be on that tour?
Rosenstock.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, I would definitely be there.
Yeah.
Like I'm going. Sorry.
Jeff played on our record, but that was all Mike's doing. I never really had a chance to like talk to him about it or thank him or anything. So I think that guy's a genius.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be cool to tour with him and see how he works. Or even like I would love for him to like produce our record like in person.
Mm-hmm.
I think that guy is just so good at what he does, and
yeah,
he has ideas that I was like, how do you even think of that? Like he's great. But I'll take the opening slot. We'll be opening Rosenstock.
Like Jeff's gonna open for you.
Yeah. Like I think like one of the best tour packages I ever saw was like Roswell Kid, Rosenstock, and the Menzingers. And I was like, that's so good.
That's stacked. Yeah, that's a good one.
More family band opening, but yeah.
Yeah. You're like just we're there. Whatever you want to put us on the tour. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff, if you're listening, hit us up.
I'm gonna say we talked to him like how long ago was that, Raven? Like December?
2 months ago, maybe. Yeah. I want to say like 2 months ago we talked to him.
Little chat.
Yeah.
Chances are high.
He sent us a bread recipe because we were talking about making the bread in quarantine.
He did these rolls during quarantine and he's like, I'm gonna send you guys the recipe, and then he did. And we were like,
did you make it?
No, but they sounded really good when we were talking about it.
Dude, that's a Rosenstock family recipe. You got.
Yeah, we talked bread and Animal Crossing.
Yeah, it was fun. And Chris Farron. And a bunch of other random things. Who knows? But yeah, it was a blast. I'm just like, what is happening right now? In that kind of thing. But I mean, you never know. It could happen next year. 2022. We're holding out hope for some kind of show.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's a long process, but it's looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So, what is both of your go-to karaoke song?
Go.
My by myself one is Amy Winehouse's version of Valerie. That's like my go-to karaoke song by myself, but a duet.
I haven't been to karaoke in so long, but I think my go-to karaoke song might also be "First Date" by Blink.
Ooh, good pick.
I remember singing "Back in Black" as a kid at karaoke because I was like, I'm 10, I can sing this. So I don't know. I just like having a good time and goofing off. It, like I feel like you have to pick a song that like everybody knows, because then like half the karaoke is like everybody singing along with you. Like I don't hate it, like okay. This is gonna sound pretentious.
Another story.
Like, yeah, it's gonna sound pretentious, but like there's this bar in like Campbell that I would go to when everything was open. And the karaoke nights, and this guy like who could not sing at all was like, I'm gonna sing Enter Sandman. And I was like, all right. But like he was like doing it. So there's like those people, and like I don't know if that guy gave a shit or anything like that, but he was just like, I'm gonna sing Metallica. I'm like, cool. But then this girl, like, I feel like if you're trying to impress people with karaoke, it's just gonna like blow up in your face. And this girl was like, I'm gonna sing Creep by Radiohead, and I was like, oh no. That song is like deceptively hard to sing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you can't do it. But
How did it go? Was it? It was bad. Nope. All right. So, any what's the future plans for you guys?
Just working on music right now. We're like we said, we've been demoing out some songs last night. We've got a couple more in the canon. Kind of debating if we want to do an EP or another album. I'm just kind of like taking the same approach as we did the first record, but kind of elaborate on that sound and kind of explore a little bit more things that we find interesting.
More
Personally,
experimental.
yeah, not like noise rock stuff. We're just like feedback for 5 minutes, but like not necessarily doing the whole like pop punk thing the whole time, you know?
Yeah.
Which is like fine, you know, but it's like we did it and now we're gonna try something else, you know? But also want to have that familiarity with like the first record.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah. This is like totally do a 180. This is all records, all slow jams. Like
I mean, you know, do what makes you happy, right?
yeah, and like we said, we're just having fun. So
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. Yeah, it would be fun. It was just like experimental sounds. Just like
yeah, it's just dogs barking the whole time. And you're like, okay. You just go total Beach Boys with it, and they're like, this bike horn for 10 minutes going on in the background.
like that's what I was feeling for that day.
Yeah, I was like, you have to look beyond the bike horn. And they're like, okay, you're done. And then I stopped going to district because Ryan won't let me go back. Yeah.
Like, no, you're just packing invoices for the rest of,
Yeah.
of the year. It's fine.
Yeah, you're cut off from the studio.
Just donezo. But that's rad. Yeah, I could call it more family band. See,
I hate our last name. It's the worst.
right. It works so well with like
yeah,
so many
my
different
whole life though. My 6th grade teacher would be like, more, and I was like, no, we gotta stop this. Like, we gotta stop this right now.
I feel like it's such like a standard like kind of name, and people still like would make
Like they've never heard it before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids come up with some like pretty creative insults with your last name. And I'm like, how do you even think of that? Like, but it's fine. It's my last name.
I would
do your homework.
Where people would take off RE and call me Alyssa Moo all the time. And I was like, this is the worst.
Really?
Oh and that's not even like I don't know. There's a respectability of like, hey, that's pretty funny. But at the same time, you're like, that's not even creative.
Yeah.
That's just lazy.
Like really, kids, I suppose. Yeah. Just they have nothing better to do, I guess. You're like, put effort into your homework. Like, just don't work with me. Like, why are you? I don't know. So creative of them. Yes, I guess that's all my questions. What about you, Raven? Got any?
You just want to plug your social media and where people can find you and everything.
Oh, all of our social medias for the band are More Family Band. One word.
Yeah, we have our record Missy out on Asian Man Records. Eyeballing it over here, we have less than 10 copies left, so hop to it if you want this first pressing. And yeah, thanks for having us on here.
Yes, thank you.
I don't believe in many things.